Okay, thank you for your patience in allowing us to get set up in a completely different configuration. We're going to do, I've chosen 4 songs to do this year with the Les Fradkin set notwithstanding, but this is kind of a hybrid acoustic, and Les has agreed to come in and help me out on these 4 songs. I appreciate that. And I'd like to recognize Mr. Les Fradkin right now for coming in and helping us all out. We're all looking to the Les Fradkin set with all kinds of orchestration and really cool stuff with Venture songs. Okay, so on my right, your left, John Stapleton has been good enough to come in and help me out, lend me his guitar, and he's a great guy, and he's going to be playing rhythm. And on the back, you may not know this name, but his name is Lucas Griffin, and Lucas is the most recent addition to the Ventures family. He's been on the last 3 albums, playing bass and guitar, and he's going to continue to play with us for the foreseeable future. So please give Les I chose 4 songs for today because each of them had a little story to them, and I don't want to belabor the story at all, but I think it's important in terms of the development of instrumental music and the Ventures music. So here goes the first one. As we all know, the Ventures worked really hard on a song called Walk, Don't Run. And they worked really hard to try to do it in their style, more of a rock style, than what they heard on the Chet Atkins album the song called Walk, Don't Run. What they didn't know was that Walk, Don't Run was written by a jazz guitar player named Johnny Smith, and I think a lot of us know that right now. And it's interesting if you go back and listen to the genesis of Walk, Don't Run from the Johnny Smith version, cut in 1953, to the Chet Atkins version, cut in 1958, to the Ventures version in 1960. And as Johnny Smith told the Ventures when they met him sometime in the 70s, he said, "You guys could have published that under a completely different name. I didn't recognize it." So, but they didn't, and of course Johnny made a lot of money out there. Interestingly enough, Johnny actually interpreted the song Walk, Don't Run. It was an interpretation of another song called Early in the Morning or something like that. And it was out of probably a 1930s movie or something. But he went in and reinterpreted the song and came out with this. And I want to play the Johnny Smith version of Walk, Don't Run. Two, three. you listen to that and you think about how did Don Wilson and Bob Bogle get from there to the Ventures' Walk Don't Run? And it's quite an evolution. Many of you probably heard the Chet Atkins version of Walk Don't Run, and that's more of a classical type of interpretation of the song. So we're going to try to fix the feedback. We have a technical problem, and let me just go ahead and move on to the second song I wanted to play for you tonight. And it's one of those songs that I thought the Ventures should have done. And I never really got a good answer as to why they didn't do that, other than the fact that we probably wouldn't have enough time. But there's a lot of songs that, for guitar players, that go C, A minor, F, G7. It's a classic type of run. And I always look for those type of songs that had that kind of construction and say, gee, well, maybe the Ventures could have done that. Maybe I should contact the Ventures and talk them into doing it. But there's a lot of songs. I mean, there is. Heart and Soul. I actually didn't think about playing that, but that's one of the songs. Okay, here's the other song, and I mentioned this to Bob Bogle and before he died, and he said, yeah, that would have been a good one to do. And I said, well, how about this one? And this is a song called Dream, Dream, Dream.
Oh, yeah. Ready?
Thank you very much. Thanks. Maybe the Ventures someday will do that song. So, and let me know if you like it and you think the Ventures should do it. Okay, the next, yes?
Yes, just do it.
Okay, thank you.
There we go.
The next song is a song that was a very famous Venture song called Diamond Head, and it was actually a monster hit in Japan, and it was a hit here in the U.S., and it was on the 1964 Walked Over in 64 album. And I know when I started working with the guys, we were looking for different ideas about how to do different things, and one of the things that I came up with was an arrangement of Diamond Head, but I did it in a little different fashion, and because another form of music that I liked was reggae music. And so I basically took Stevie Wonder's rhythm on one of his songs, and I said, gee, I wonder how that would work with Diamond Head, you know, because reggae is kind of a funky type thing, and I really didn't know if the melody was going to work. But it seemed to work out okay, and I put it, actually, I fronted it to Bob and Don and Oki and those guys, and they said, what? He said, you're going to do what? But so I put it on my album. So it's on the Fifth Ventures album. It's called Diamond Head, and it's the reggae version. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, strangely enough, Bob Bogle told me, after I've been working with the guys for a while, he said, you know, he said, you could have published that under a different name. I wouldn't have recognized it. And of course, Danny Hamilton wrote that song, and Hamilton, Joe Frank Reynolds, and but he would have recognized that. So, okay, this next song has a really interesting story to it, and we're going to switch over to the electric instruments, and I'm going to bring out a drummer, Mr. John Ramski. Johnny? Where's Johnny? Johnny's around. There he is. All right. Okay. Well, Johnny's coming up. I want to recognize a couple of people because I did recognize them in the crowd. Kathy Rodriguez and Mike Bogle are here, and if you get a chance, go up and say hi to them. Kathy and Mike are daughter and son of Bob Bogle, and we're very pleased that they came out today to see this honoring. And the legacy that Bob had such a great part in. Okay, we're going to do this next song, but we're going to switch over real quick to the electric instrument, so just give us a minute, and I'll come back and tell you a quick story, and then we'll do it. Okay, this next song is a very interesting story. We've had a lot of Duane Eddy songs played today, and this is actually a Duane Eddy story. I was always intrigued, certainly by Duane Eddy's music, but one song really intrigued me more than any other, and it was a song called Ramrod, early on. I think they did it in 1958, so it always had a different sound to me than Duane Eddy's, because this was a little bit different, and it was a little bit more driving type thing. And again, it was one of those songs, I wonder what adventures that I didn't do early on. But as it turns out, I found out about a couple of years ago that a gentleman that was a key session player and came out of Phoenix, Arizona also, and played actually with Duane Eddy for many years, wrote Ramrod, and actually before he started work with Duane Eddy had his hit with Rebel Rouser, was on the road back east, and Duane's producer Lee Hazelwood needed a song to put out, and it's not that boring, and and Duane Eddy needed a song the record label needed a song to release. So what they did is Lee found Al Casey, and Al had just cut a record called Ramrod, and it was on a local label called the Ford label. So Al made a deal, Lee Hazelwood made a deal with Al Casey and said, look, we'll buy this master and we're going to put it on Duane Eddy album. And so Al said, yeah, that's fine, that's great. So Lee took the tape and he took it to Los Angeles and he put on saxophone, he put on some rebel yells and stuff, and then that was released as Duane Eddy's Ramrod. So I like the song a lot because it's a basic 50s rock and roll instrumental, but I wanted to do it, and we actually did it this year in Japan, and it seemed to go over very well. But I've always liked it, and I like to do this as a tribute to Al Casey.